There we are. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the latest episode of Third Down Thursdays. And I bet a lot of you are thinking, like, wait, this isn't Bruce. This isn't MJ. Well, you are very correct. I am Jackson Gross. I'll be hopping in here as host of tonight's show. Bruce, and with it being the summer, Bruce and MJ decided to take vacations and leave me the keys to handle things here for a while. So no, I'm just kidding. They got important work stuff going on right now. So appreciate them and trusting me to run things tonight. But it won't be just me, as you see on your screen, as we have one of the best Patriots writers and BMX writers we have here at Third Down Thursdays, and someone who is just a great person simply for their name. We got Mr. Jack Gaffney. Jack, how we doing?
I am doing good. I am tired. So outside of our house right now, we have it's the summer. Lots of wildlife likes to come around this time of the year. We have a bunny nest in our backyard, and it's perfect. I have Murphy as my screensaver here because he may or may not have gotten into a bunny nest. It may or may not have gotten one out of a nest of about 3 baby bunnies. That's all good. The other 2 are still alive. They're still kicking. They're doing good. But that's his second confirmed KIA of his 1.5 years of life. But outside of that, life's going pretty good.
Yeah, my dogs have done the same thing. My dog Linus, when he was a little bit younger, he would do the same thing. He got a few bunnies over the years, but thankfully he's getting older, so he's not doing it as much. So I'm happy with it. Before we get into anything else, how was your 4th of July weekend?
So the funny thing about where I'm at, we don't really celebrate the 4th. We celebrate the 3rd where I'm at, which is really interesting. Yeah, so where I live, there's a beach about, I'll say 2-3 minutes from my house where there's a bonfire every year. And getting in and out, there's a train wreck. So I've only ever done it twice, going down to where like the bonfire is. So I usually stick around where I'm at. And you can basically see the fireworks that they run between my town and another town called Weymouth. Like maybe 10 steps from my house, you can see the fireworks show completely perfect. So that's basically what I did. And the 4th was my baby cousin's birthday. So that's me. Yes, 1-year-old.
Nice. I don't know if what are your thoughts on like having like baby parties when like the kid isn't even gonna remember? Like I don't even remember mine until I was like 4 or 5 years old.
I think the earliest memory I have is when I was like 3. So you might be on to something here. You might be on to something.
Like I appreciate the effort. I feel like it's more for the adults at that point. At that, like if you're like 1 to 3 years old, you're not really gonna remember anything.
Yeah,
but
I got the Coronas, the Stella.
There you go. All right. Well, going back to at least a little bit of your 4th of July comments, we'll go ahead and hop into NBA free agency because, oh boy, some teams and players decided to set off a ton of fireworks. Not talking about Jason Pierre-Paul.
Nah, that's a low blow. That's a low blow.
Sorry, I was kidding. But yeah,
Super Bowl champion, man. That's crazy. The disrespect.
Hey, gotta be more careful of fireworks. That's your PSA for tonight. But like I said, lots of fireworks going on in NBA free agency. Just off the rip, who had some of the best and worst contracts that were given out over? It's still going on, but most of the marquee guys who aren't going to get traded have already signed.
Well, a good contract that just got handed out literally earlier today. For a guy that I've kind of been a big fan of since he was ever with the Spurs is one DeJounte Murray. He got a 4-year, $120 million max contract with the Hawks, and I've been a big fan of his for a while. I feel like there's some good value in that.
Yeah, I've been mixed on that because everyone looks at the dollar amount like you're paying $30 million for DeJounte Murray, but I saw a thing earlier in the week. It was from the No Dunks podcast, and they were talking about you're going to have to start looking at these contracts as a percentage of the cap because
exactly that's what it should be in every league.
Exactly, but everyone sees like the name attached to that. They're going to be like, this guy got this much. Like Desmond Bain got $200 million. And people think like $200 million for Desmond Bain, but
like that's just how it works. Like the contracts are going to keep getting bigger. You have to look at it from a salary cap percentage standpoint. That's really the case for every league. So I don't think that's a bad contract at all for Murray at all, quite frankly.
yeah, but I will say that a former teammate of Desmond Bain got a horrible contract for the team that gave it to him, not necessarily for him, and that's Dylan Brooks. 4 years, $80 million for Dylan Brooks. And
the Rockets were out there doing anything, man.
Like, this feels like, and you've probably felt this too, like you're 10 years old playing NBA 2K and you see a guy who's like in his mid 80s and you have money to spend and you want to spend it. Like, this is like that feeling where it's like the Rockets are just spending money because they have it instead of like trying to fill the roster with like good veteran players. You're just like, oh, here's a good player. Let's pay him a lot of money.
That's exactly it. They're paying guys just to pay guys. I think I was talking to someone the other day. I'm like, are they just trying to hit like the salary floor? Like, is there something I'm just not getting here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, that's certainly what it feels like. I mean, you give Fred VanVleet 3 years, 140. Although I did hear that the last year of that deal, I believe, is a team option. So it's not that bad, but you're paying those two guys, and you add in Jock Landale, who they signed. You're paying those three guys nearly $80 million, $70 million.
They're doing anything over there, man. They're literally doing anything.
And
it's nothing good, but they're doing anything.
It's like, hey, we did something. Like, but should you have done it? Is kind of like the big thing right now.
Oh, the answer is no.
And I mean, just taking a look, I'm looking at Sports Track right now, just for free agents next year. I mean, you got Pascal Siakam, who could be available, Jaylen Brown, if he doesn't sign. Although after that, it gets pretty sus with like some of the guys, like DeMar DeRozan will be a free agent, but there's not a lot of marquee guys that are going to be available next year. So who knows? Maybe the Rockets are actually doing something smart for once post James Harden.
Yeah. As someone who's not a big James Harden fan, I think getting rid of him might have been the best option for them. Long term.
Yeah.
Because you were never going to win with him. Not that you were going to win without him, but I don't think you were winning with him.
And that's just so tough because they were up 3-2 on the 2018 Warriors death lineup.
They should have won that game 7.
They should have won game 6. They should have won game 6 too, but
yeah, then Chris Paul got hurt.
Oh yeah, Chris Paul got hurt in game 5, and like that was the most typical like Chris Paul injury I've ever seen, where it's a hamstring going up 3-2 in a pivotal game, and it's just I was so sick after that. I was riding with the Rockets so hard just because I didn't want to see the Warriors get in, but that was just so tough to watch.
I selfishly wanted the Warriors only because the Celtics were in the Eastern Conference Finals that year, and then they ended up losing in that 7th game, which I thought they were going to win, but then again, LeBron was an animal in 2018, excuse me, so they kind of had a chance, but never, not really.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier throwing up bricks. I mean, that wasn't going to happen.
Celtics icon Terry Rozier. Show some respect.
No respect for Terry Rozier.
He was a legend in this city for like a year and a half.
Like, just a quick question before we move on. Like, what were the expectations for Terry Rozier after that run? Were people thinking he was going to be an all-star?
If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, I think people were expecting him to leave the next year no matter what, but he was going to be like really good that last year before he got the bag from somebody else. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I can remember to the best of my recollection.
Gotcha. Yeah. What a time. But some guys that got some really good contracts happen to be going to the chief rival out west of the Boston Celtics, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. They were able to get Austin Reeves for 4 years, $56 million, and then Miami Heat legend Gabe Vincent for 3 years at $33 million. I hate to say it, but the Lakers are one of the top 3 clear winners of NBA free agency.
I was not expecting them to keep Austin Reeves, so I feel like that enough is a win. I lost several nights of sleep over Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin. For the fact that he's now out of the East, that's fantastic. But yeah, I gotta give the Devil their due. The Lakers have done a good job here.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I was just gonna say that I wasn't surprised that they kept Reeves. I'm just surprised they were able to keep him for that term and that money. I thought someone was gonna throw him $100 million offer. I mean, if Otto Porter can get $100 million offer, I thought for sure Austin Reeves would.
Those are dark days.
Oh my God! Like,
what year was that? That 2016 or 2017, where teams were just handing out like contracts to like mid-level players.
That was 2016 because that was that huge salary cap boom.
Oh yeah. That was,
and that's how the Warriors got KD.
Oh yeah.
So, and the legendary Timofey Mozgov going to the Lakers that year as well.
Remember that.
But yeah, just talking about getting paid $14 million after the end of the regular season. He had the terrific playoff run that he had. Like, he just looked like a dead-eye shooter, despite the Lakers losing to the Nuggets and even through the prior 2 series they had. So keeping that together, signing Rui Hachimura, probably a little bit of an overpay. You bring back D'Angelo Russell. You have Gabe Vincent now. Call me crazy. I think the Lakers will probably be a higher seed than they were this year and will probably be in the Western Conference Finals again.
I don't know if I would go as far as West Finals. I definitely think they're a playoff team, depending on what LeBron's looking like in year checks notes 21. But
oh my God.
Like, why does he keep playing? Why, more importantly than why does he keep playing? Why does he keep lying? He's just lying. He continues to lie.
He's the man of 1,000 caps, man. Like,
too many.
I respect him now, but I know I speak for both of us considering how much he's tortured our franchise. It's like, just leave. Just go away. We don't want to deal with you anymore.
Remember when he said he saw the Godfather trilogy 6 times and he couldn't name a single scene out of a 9-hour-long... Yes, this happened. I think this was before Game 6 of the 2016 finals. I promise you this happened. This happened. He was asked, what is your favorite scene, moment, quote, phrase from the Godfather trilogy? Couldn't name a single one. And that was when he was coming into games reading the Godfather book. Comfortably his worst line. Worse than the Kobe 81-point game 1. Worse than saying he knew about the Migos. Worse than saying, I thought it was so unique that the Liverpool player scored a goal for Liverpool. What else has LeBron lied about? Too many things.
The fact that he's going to retire.
Oh, yeah, that was shameless. Shameless.
Like, my big question is, like, a media perspective. Who's asking him about The Godfather while they're in the middle of a 3-1 comeback? Like,
yeah, lighten the mood a little bit.
That's true. I mean, I'm just still a little triggered from when I went to the NFL draft and someone asked Jordan Addison 2 questions about fantasy football.
Oh, no.
Like, I am still very triggered about that. So, like, whoever asked those questions, be better. I know you probably work for a fantasy football website, but be better, please. But getting off that random tangent, who would you say overall, since we talked a little bit about winners? It can be a player, it can be a team, it can be whatever. Who are the winners and losers of free agency?
I'm going to say the biggest loser is Damian Lillard because he's running from the grind. What happened? He was 2 months ago, like, oh, I'm not running from the grind. 5 days ago, not even a full 5 days ago, Jackson, he said, I want out. Who was it that the other Trailblazers paid? Was it Sadiq Bey?
No, worse. Oh. It was Jeremy Grant, $160 million.
He saw that contract and said, get me on the first flight to Miami. I'm out.
I forgot to bring that up when we were talking about bad contracts. Holy hell, 5 for 160 for Jeremy Grant.
D-Will could not believe it. Could not believe it. I promise you. Couldn't believe it.
Like, I looked this up when the signing first happened, and I saw that he's going to be paid the same amount, like before Jason Tatum gets his supermax. He's going to be paid the same amount as Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell.
That's disgusting.
For perspective, $32 million. But
that's like Kirk Cousins money.
Oh, don't even bring up Kirk Cousins. He is so annoying.
But, don't worry. We'll have plenty of time for that later.
but yeah, no, going back to Damian Lillard. Yeah, I think he's a clear loser in this situation. The fact that he's just, I've never seen a guy like beg this much to go to a team where he's like, I'm only going to go to Miami. I won't go anywhere else. Like, you're not Bradley Beal. You don't have a no trade clause. You're
Scott. No, Scott. I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining about the fact that he just religiously lies. And also, don't worry. We'll get to Tom Brady a little bit later. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun to talk about.
Oh,
but yeah, no, like, yeah, I think Damian Lillard, the fact that his agent is like telling teams to not trade for them because otherwise you're gonna get an unhappy player is just. Yeah. It just seems so desperate and petty.
Has that ever stopped any team before? Like that didn't stop like the Raptors from getting Kawhi. It didn't stop the Celtics from getting KG. He didn't want to come here at first. He wanted to go to the Warriors.
Didn't stop the Thunder from getting Paul George from Indiana.
Exactly.
So and look how that turned out for Paul George. He was top 3 in MVP voting the year after Carmelo left. So
yeah, he was. I thought he was really good with OKC.
He really was. Like, I think that's probably the best we'll see of Paul George for the rest of his career.
Podcasting legend now, Paul George. Apparently his podcast is really good. I've yet to hear it, but I've heard nothing but good things.
It's really good. He's had like NBA players on like pretty much every episode, and it's really good. He had Julius Randle on. He had Draymond Green on. He had Jaren Jackson Jr. on at one point. So it's really good.
I'll take your word for it. I have to tap in.
Sounds good. But I'll get into one of my winners and losers, and that would be max contract players. Guys who are eligible for max contract players are heavy winners. Talking about obviously Fred VanVleet getting the max, but also LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton getting 5 years, $260 million each. And then, as we brought up earlier, 5 years, I believe either 204 or 207 for Desmond Bane.
Celtics legend Desmond Bane for like 12 hours. Lest we forget.
Oh my god! I forgot that Desmond Bane was drafted by the Celtics. Like you'll keep Romeo Langford, but you won't keep Desmond Bane. What's going on here?
I miss Romeo Langford. You're the good vibes guy. Good vibes.
Just vibes, nothing else.
Oh yeah.
All right, and I'll get into one more loser, and that would be the Toronto Raptors. Big losers. Like not keeping Fred VanVleet for that salary cap, probably a win, but losing Fred VanVleet, you bring back Jakob Poeltl at 4 years, $80 million, and then you bring in Dennis Schroeder for over the mid-level exception at 2 years, $26 million to try and replace. Like,
yeah, that probably wasn't too great.
That team needs to blow it up. Like, I know everyone talks about the Bulls needing to blowing up. The Raptors need to blow it up.
I feel like every team outside of like 10 teams in the NBA should probably blow it up, which I feel like speaks to a larger problem with the league. But that's, we don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah, we don't. That could take 2 podcasts in and of itself at that point. But yeah, I mean, like, unless you're like a top like 5 seed in each conference,
or the
you
Heat,
should just blow it up. Yeah, although I don't know what was going on in the Heat in the regular season. I have no idea. They're not going to be the 8 seed again.
I truly believe they didn't care, and they ended up they almost got bit because they should have lost to the Bulls.
Yep, if it wasn't for Billy Donovan taking out Kobe White. Like after he took out Kobe White, the Bulls scored one more point in the last like 3.5 minutes of that game. One on a DeMar DeRozan free throw.
Oh, so that's just the Celtics late game special.
Oh yeah, it's except the Bulls didn't have the same level of expectations the Celtics did, so it doesn't hurt as much. But
fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Any other winners or losers you have for NBA free agency before we get it move on?
Selfishly, I think the Celtics had a pretty good period here. I mean, they were going to lose Grant Williams for nothing, and they ended up getting, I believe it was 3 second-round draft picks for a guy that was going to hit the open market as, a restricted free agent.
Yep.
And as much as it pains me to lose Marcus Smart, the player had gotten to a point where it was a little frustrating, so I can live with the trade to dump him to Memphis to get Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know if I told this to you, but I definitely told it to someone. They had to change something. They were not going to win with this core in the fashion that they were constructed, and I'm not a believer in the idea of changing things just for the sake of changing things. I do think this trade makes them a little bit better, if anything. Now, they probably need to get another body to replace Grant Williams, but if you're talking about just the swap of Marcus Smart for Kristaps Porzingis, I think that makes them a little better, if anything.
Yeah, and the fact that you got 2 first-round picks, and then I think Porzingis also got a 2-year contract extension, if I remember correctly.
I believe it was 3 years, $60 million. I can check right now, but I believe it was 3.
Because I know he opted into his player option, so he could get traded. But I don't know about that.
He did opt in. I believe I do remember that.
Yeah. Someone just asked about the Mavs. I think the Mavs have had a really good offseason as well. Obviously, bringing in Grant Williams, bringing in Marquette's own Olivier Maxence Prosper. Love it.
I don't know, Kyrie. I don't know.
They were going to have to bring him back. They had to bring him back.
Did they?
Like, what else are you going to do? You basically trade away Dorian Finney-Smith and
let him walk and not deal with the headache. I've lived this. You understand?
Hey, but at least in this instance, Kyrie's not the number one guy. Like, he has Luka ahead of him. So maybe that'll quell some things. I mean, hopefully he doesn't go on some other random hatred of people for whatever reason, or
he's going to start hating the grassy knolls of Dallas.
The grassy knolls.
Yeah, he's going to go live up by Dealey Plaza. Or it's great this time of year.
Oh my god, that would be something to see for sure. With,
something that I've seen from Mavs fans is something along the lines of they weren't losing all those games once Kyrie got there because of him. Now they lost a ton of games, but that was something that I saw a ton from Mavs fans. I can't speak to that, but I'm really interested to see where this goes by the time we hit like February and the Mavs just aren't good. Do they try to move them? Do they just try to ride it out at that point?
I don't think you trade him in the first year of the contract because I don't think anyone's going to want to take on 2.5 seasons of Kyrie at that point.
I would have taken on 1.
Exactly, especially in the manner. If it's just like it's a bad fit between him and Luka just because of their play style, I think you could get some potential players in there to get him. But if you're having off the court issues, then that's why you have to get rid of him, with him not showing up for games, other social media shenanigans,
Amazon recommendations.
Amazon recommendations. Like, if that's the reason you have to get rid of Kyrie, then I think it becomes a very small pool, if anybody, who's willing to take on 2.5 or 2 seasons of Kyrie Irving at that point.
I also wonder, if this does happen hypothetically, do they try to use that new clause? If he just said, let's say he starts missing games like he did with the Nets, he just bails, he just goes on his own for like a week or so. You remember when he I
remember when he was in Brooklyn. Yeah.
So let's just go under the hypothetical scenario. He's a head case for whatever reason, warranted or unwarranted. That's the perception, and then he ends up doing that, do they try to use that new clause to maybe see if they can get rid of him? Because I think that someone has to be the first team to do that for a player. I wonder how that whole situation would go down if it is Kyrie.
What's the new clause? I'm not sure what you're.
I believe in the CBA, I saw this from a friend of mine, Josh. Something along the lines of a team can cut you and get out of the contract for performance-based reasons. If he's not on the court, I wonder if the Mavs would try to get out of the contract in its entirety. If they could maybe try to finagle some of the language of that in the CBA.
And that would be interesting. I mean, you would hate to lose him for nothing, and the fact that you didn't keep Jalen Brunson around would be insane. But
what a misfire that was by them, man.
Oh my God. But like the fact that you've hopefully been able to replace the defense lost by Dorian Finney-Smith with Grant Williams and Olivier Maxence Prosper, I think that softens that part of the trade itself. But the fact that they may have to cut him for nothing would be absolutely wild to see.
It'd be great content.
Oh, 100%. The amount of articles and videos that would be done would be incredible.
Yeah, the ESPN industrial complex will go nuts over that, for sure.
Okay. Who's Bruce, is this you? What's going on here, man? Like,
with what?
You know what? You know how the Bulls could have gotten Luka? If they would have sat Nikola Mirotic instead of him going on a little insanity run and costing the Bulls.
I had him in fantasy basketball one year. I think it might have been that year that he was like really good.
Oh my God. It's the craziest thing with that.
And then Bobby Portis happened.
Yeah, but like he comes back in March. He goes off. The Bulls and the Kings finish with the same record. The Bulls win the tiebreaker, but because they won the tiebreaker, they fell in the lottery to number 7.
Oof.
So could have had Luka. But you know what helps avoiding situations like that, Jack?
What is that, Jackson?
Great insurance.
Erie Insurance says here's to the grown-ups who move, mortgage, mow, and still bust a move. But does your home insurance still fit? Erie helps you protect the home you've grown into, all at fair prices that are often less than the other guys. So how do you find the right coverage? Magic. Nope. Local independent agents who get to know you like this.
Your local Erie agent is Building Block Insurance Group. Get a quote today at 704-464-4544.
Erie Insurance.
Make sure you call Jeff Bortepny, all that kind of good stuff, and make sure to tell them that Third Down Thursday sent you and that Mr. Jack Gaffney is better at him than Call of Duty.
I have not touched Call of Duty in about 5 months. However, that probably remains accurate.
I love the confidence. Love the confidence.
Cutting Warzone out of my life might have been one of the 5 best things I've ever done. I'm not even kidding.
I've only played Warzone in terms of like I've only played Warzone or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare in my lifetime. Like it's probably for the best.
Truth hurts.
It's probably for the best. Like
100% is.
I'd much rather play MLB The Show or some of the Spider-Man games or a Star Wars game or Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, give me some of those games.
Meanwhile, I'm knee-deep in Diablo 4 right now.
Oh, yes.
Destiny has had a vice grip on my soul for the better part of 6 years. What else we got? Doom.
Yes.
Doom Eternal, one of my favorite games ever.
I haven't finished the first game yet. I haven't played it in like 3 years, so hopefully I'll be able to get back into it.
Ooh.
But
what do we got next year?
So you know what's really causing some doom and hell on earth out there right now on Twitter?
Climate change.
But in the sports world, it would be the MLB All-Star rosters and the snubs that have gone along with it. Some massive snubs going out there right now. But before we get into the snubs, let's talk about who should be the starting pitcher for the American League and the National League. You presumed it was going to be Shohei Ohtani in the American League, but now he's got a blister, so he probably won't start on Tuesday. So,
and then McClanahan's out.
Shane McClanahan is out. So, who do you got starting in the American League, and who do you got starting in the National League?
Out of sheer principle, I can't say Garrett Cole. I can't have a guy who gets rattled by a Kermit Frog puppet before a wild card game starting in the All-Star game. So I'm going to go with a personal favorite, Nasty Nate Eovaldi. Why can't the Red Sox get guys like this, Jackson? Why can't the Red Sox get guys like Nathan Eovaldi?
You know, it's just sometimes the purse is a little tight and you can't sign these guys or wait a minute. Oh, yeah, re-sign these guys.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because the Red Sox have a cheapo owner. That's right.
Don't tell me about it.
Oh, my God. Listen, if I say what I want to say about John Henry, we're here for the next 5 hours. Do you realize how impossible it is to own a team that's won 4 championships in 20 years and comfortably, I mean comfortably, be the most hated person in the city? Do you realize how hard that is, Jackson?
Considering what happened with the Bruins this past season, that's very shocking to me.
Oh my! I tweet it every time Mookie Betts does anything, Alexander Bogaerts does anything. I do not like John Henry. Genuinely hate him.
I understand, from a Cubs fan, I'll just throw my head into this. I understand getting the Cubs tear down, getting rid of Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Anthony Rizzo. That core wasn't working. Chris Bryant hasn't been the same. He's left. Javi Baez is a strikeout machine. Anthony Rizzo is the only guy that kind of really hurts to lose.
Yeah, he was the heart and soul of the Cubs.
Yeah, but why would you not bring back Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts? Those guys,
they didn't want to pay him. That's why.
Top 7 to top 5 guys in their position.
And there are Red Sox fans who are getting rid of Bogaerts was a great move. What are we talking about? He was essentially the captain. What are we talking about?
Oh my God!
I had to hear, his 5 stats that I've never heard of in my life are all bad. It's who cares? Who cares?
His WRC and his F4 are off the charts bad or whatever.
I'll never forget this. I think it was the day after Mookie Betts got traded. John Henry put out a press release.
Uh-huh.
And after this, we'll get back into the All-Star rosters, but I'll never forget this. He was talking about Stan Musial getting traded from the Cardinals when he was a 10-year-old boy. I know how you guys feel right now. I wanted to throw my phone across the room when I read that. I genuinely wanted to throw my phone across the room when I first saw that press release. I couldn't believe it.
My God. Talk about out of touch.
But shocker. The Dodgers win the World Series year 1 with Mookie Betts. Who could have saw that coming?
Not me.
Crazy how that worked, man.
But let's get back into this. Who do you have starting for the National League?
The National League? Well, I got to pull this up here because I do have the full list up.
Yep.
How about we go with from your Chicago Cubs, Justin Steele?
Yes. This is the propaganda I've been trying to spread out here.
We got 9-2, only 81 strikeouts, but he's 9-2 with a 2.56 ERA right now and a 106 WHIP. I'll take that.
Yeah, best ERA in the NL. I think now also has the best ERA in baseball, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, that 2.56. That sounds about right, given.
Yeah, he is just an absolute machine, and even in games where he doesn't pitch great, his last game against Milwaukee, he gave up a couple of home runs. He only gave up 3 runs and basically kept the Cubs in the game enough to where they pull off one of the most miraculous comebacks I've seen in a while. Yes, it was only a 2-run deficit, but when you're the 2023 Chicago Cubs coming back from something like that, it's pretty crazy.
That's right.
So to not completely avoid some bias, I'll also say I think Spencer Strider would also be another great contender to potentially start the All-Star game. He's just been an absolute demon on the mound for the Braves this year.
155 strikeouts already. Okay. 3.6. All right. 3.66 ERA and more or less the same WHIP as Steele. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, like, he has just been on another level this year. I mean, Bryce Elder actually has the best ERA in baseball, 2.45. So
Jesus.
that's just something to think about. But yeah, Spencer Strider's been incredible, just an absolute strikeout king this year. Spencer Strikeout, as some in the streets call him. So I'd
Can't
be
wait for
happy
the
with
Braves.
that.
Can't wait for the Braves to pay him like a 10-year contract worth like $30 million total.
Hey,
That's definitely like
$30 million with a Taco Bell like gift card or something like that.
how do they keep getting away with this? The Braves.
I don't know. I would love to know. Like, bring the entire front office and ownership group from Atlanta and just put them in Chicago or Boston at this point. Like, I feel like this is the only way to save what's going on right now.
Agreed.
So, in terms of the American League, now that Shohei probably won't start, oh man, I'm gonna probably either say Framber Valdez, but for the memes, I think they should start Michael Lorenzen. I think that would just be the funniest thing to see, is the only guy who's going to be in the All-Star game for the Detroit Tigers this year. But
I'm in.
I would love
You
it.
sold me. You absolutely sold me. Oh no. Damn. I just looked down at my phone. You know the New York Yankees of New York are now
Yes.
12-0 right now in the fourth to the Baltimore Orioles, man. That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
That's
It's-
crazy. I mean, but yeah, like, can that be like, as like a pure meme, like starting pitching, it should be Josiah Gray versus Michael Lorenzen to start this All-Star game.
Josiah Gray did be wonders last year in MLB The Show, so for that I would have no issue with that. Also wouldn't have an issue with Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, he's kind of fallen down a little bit. He's had a couple of rough starts the past few games. The game in London, his last game against the Brewers. I think he's still dealing with a blister on his hand as well. So
Okay.
we'll see how that all goes. But let's get into the real meat and potatoes of the MLB All-Star rosters, and that is the snubs. There are some massive snubs out there in this All-Star selection. Who is at least a couple of your biggest snubs from these All-Star rosters?
I feel like Yordan Alvarez just not being a starter in the AL is just insane to me. I feel like every time I see Yordan Alvarez, he hits like a 470-foot home run, like in the bottom of the ninth, every single time without fail. Like I don't say this lightly. He reminds me nearly 90% of David Ortiz. I don't say that lightly whatsoever. He's so good.
I have had that same feeling.
He's literally David Ortiz. I do not say that lightly as a Red Sox fan.
Like,
And I'm looking at his numbers right now. What do we got? Oh, he only has 17 home runs? Okay.
well, he's been out for quite a bit, if I can remember.
Oh,
correctly.
okay. So that would explain a lot then.
Yeah. So he's not going to play in the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, I see the asterisk next to his name now.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker and Julio Rodriguez have
I think
been
they'll
added
probably
in
get-
as,
Yeah, they'll probably get J-Rod since it's in Seattle, I imagine.
Yep. I'm surprised he was added in as a replacement.
We got 250, 13 home runs, 47 RBIs, 20 stolen bases. Okay.
I mean, I still think that's All-Star worthy, but maybe not over some of the guys who were initially on the list. But initially, for me, one of the biggest snubs was one Mr. Wander Franco. This guy has had an incredible season up to this point. And you know who they initially had in his place, just because he plays for a certain team in the American League that is also underachieving?
Would it be a certain player from the team in a major metropolitan area in the Northeast?
Close. It's an international team, actually.
Ooh.
And that
Indulge
would be Mr. Whit Merrifield of the
Oh,
Toronto Blue Jays. Here's some stats. Here we go. Let's take a look at Mr. Wander Franco's stats this year.
indulge me.
He is hitting 285 806 OPS, 10 home runs, 43 RBIs, 29 walks, 28 stolen bases this year to go along with 35 extra base hits.
Jesus.
Let's look at 34-year-old Whit Merrifield. Let's see. How is he doing?
He's 34?
Yes. He's
God.
He's hitting 281, 700 OPS with 2 home runs and 32 RBIs. And let's see, only 19 extra base hits.
That's nasty business.
Like, they eventually added in Wander Franco because I have the full rosters up here. But the fact that he wasn't in the initial roster to begin with is just some of the most devious behavior I have ever seen.
That's abhorrent. That's genuinely abhorrent behavior.
Like, he's still one of the best infielders in all of baseball, and I think the reasoning was because it was for positions, because Wander Franco's a shortstop and Whit Merrifield's a second baseman. So I think that's why they put him in. I don't quote me on that, but I feel like that's the reasoning I've heard around.
Yeah, that would make sense to me because Corey Seager was probably going to make it in no matter what.
Yeah, Seager made it as the starter in the American League, so that makes total sense. I'll give one more, and that was, and it still is, I believe, to this day. Yeah, no Fernando Tatis Jr. in the All-Star game this year is just absolutely wild to me.
I would agree. Typically, I'm not the biggest, steroids are like ruining the game of baseball, but he's been tremendous since he's came back from the stuff that I've seen. And I can't say I've seen a ton of San Diego Padres games this year, but from the stuff that I have seen, like when he went yard 4 times at Yankee Stadium, 3 nights, something along those lines.
That's just
the fact that he's not even a reserve. That's a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, here's who they have in for the reserves, and that would be they have Lourdes Gurriel, Nicholas Castellanos, and Juan Soto.
All right, what's about to happen then? Since Castellanos is in,
I don't know.
He's a heartbeat away from being in the All-Star game. That's no good.
And the fact that he didn't even get in as a DH, and that JD Martinez is an All-Star at DH. I'm not sure exactly the season he's having right now, but that just does not sound right to me.
20 home runs, 59 RBIs, 69
never mind. Never mind.
Why can't the Red Sox get guys like this, man? That's crazy. Why can't they get guys like this, Jackson? I would kill for guys like JD Martinez on the Red Sox.
Yeah, it's a tough world out there. It's a tough world, but just to give you an idea of where Tatis is at, 16 home runs, 44 RBIs, hitting 287, 14 stolen bases already, and 879 OPS, 36 extra base hits.
Meh. No, I'm kidding.
just to hear to troll here, aren't you?
This is why I feel like we shouldn't have fan voting for stuff like this. Now, actually, I don't know if I should say that because baseball writers, I feel like, are probably the stingiest of the 4 major sports. Except for the one, the 1 or 2 people that didn't vote in Derek Jeter first ballot on the Hall of Fame. Outside of them, they're cool. But everyone else, yeah, they're all very stingy.
Yeah, I think that just comes with there being so many legacy guys who vote on this kind of thing that they're not willing to adopt. No joke, besides the positional thing, I think there would be some people who didn't vote in Wander Franco because he did a little self-toss to himself, throwing a guy out at first.
And didn't he get benched a week ago?
Yeah, but that was for something else. There's some other stuff going on with Wander Franco. It wasn't specifically for the self-toss. It was for something else.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he was he wasn't taking criticism well from what I've heard. So I think that's the biggest thing. So
let him focus what I say.
So before we move on to probably our last topic of the night, what else? Any other potential snubs from All-Star Weekend?
A guy who I would have liked to have seen, selfishly as a Red Sox fan, as a reserve, not as a starter, is one of the only two reasons I even tune in at this point. That is Masataka Yoshida, who's been he kind of started off slow, but he kind of has been better as of late. So I can pull his numbers here real quick. And he's been an absolute delight the entire way. I will say that. Masataka Yoshida.
He's been a fun watch this year for sure.
Yeah, he's sixth in all of baseball in average. He's hitting .310 right now. Only 9 home runs, but that's just not really his bag. And 41 RBIs.
That's not bad. I mean, the problem is that he wasn't going to get in as a DH over Shohei Ohtani.
No,
and then Oakland had to get somebody in there, so Brent Rooker was going to be the guy. So,
this is perfect. Speaking of Oakland, are we going to talk at all about like the fakest perfect game in the history of baseball?
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Oh my God! How many pitches did Domingo Germán pitch? Like 99.
Yes, I think it was right around that number.
That doesn't count because at that point, you're just swinging at anything. At that point, if a guy's averaging 11 pitches an inning on the dot, you're just swinging at everything at that point.
Can you hang on a second? I want to get some French fries so I can pour some salt. Get some salt on that. Just keep talking. Just keep talking.
Listen, I'm calling it like I see it.
Totally objective.
Yes.
10 out of 10 journalism.
Yes, of course.
I mean, oh my God.
How do you let a guy throw a perfect game on you in 99 pitches?
Welcome to the 2023 Oakland Athletics. Sorry, MJ.
That's someone's favorite team, man. Not mine. That's someone's favorite team.
Not mine either. Not a team that's going to be moving to Las Vegas. Not mine. Never.
Speaking of favorite teams, your Chicago Bears have been making the rounds.
Oh yeah, what's on this very show? My team?
No, just on this very show for the last month, a lot of Justin Field hype. And deservingly so. I'm a huge Justin Fields fan. But with camp opening up in about 3 weeks from now, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling really good. The connection I saw between him and DJ Moore through minicamp, through just looking stuff up, and some of the other guys, I think is going really well. I think the one thing that has been completely blown out of proportion is the stuff going on with Chase Claypool. You have like accounts like going at him for like going to, I think it was like Paris Fashion Week or something. He was out there for something and people are clowning him because, he's not working. He's going to be a distraction and blah, blah, blah. And then like not showing the fact that he was in like the UK for like helping kids or whatever. Like, I'm just so sick.
I feel like that. Yeah, that
dunking on him.
I can get people being a little mad over the fashion stuff show, but if he was like doing charity work in the UK, yeah, that's dumb. And that's someone this is coming from someone who is not a Chase Claypool fan.
Yeah, like it's I mean, but it wasn't like it's in his off time. Like he's an adult. He's allowed to do whatever he wants to do in his off time. So, but getting back to the whole Justin Fields thing, supremely hyped. Not expecting like some people out there who would probably are like bigger meatheads than me or Bruce, who are like want to see him throw for like 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Run for 2,000 yards, something like that. I'm definitely in the more modest. I think he'll throw like somewhere between 3,500 and 3,750 passing and still get like 800 yards rushing. But I think he's going to show a lot of people that he can be a top 10 NFL quarterback for years to come. I think he's a better thrower than Lamar Jackson, and that might be.
Oh yeah, he 100% is.
Like, it's just like imagine like people like talk about like, oh, imagine this guy, but with this, imagine Lamar Jackson, but built like a running back, but is also a better thrower.
And the crazy thing about Fields is this was never like his forte when he was at Ohio State. Like he wasn't this. Like he could run, but he wasn't like like this. He wasn't like a legit like threat to take it to the house every time he escapes the pocket.
Yeah,
And
no,
now he's kind of is that.
yeah, he was.
Or worse.
Yeah, well, hopefully with better receivers and better
Yes.
offensive line, it won't have to be. It'll be more of his runs will be designed runs rather than just escaping the pocket because he has 3 to 4 pylons in front of him trying to block. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great season for Justin Fields and the Bears. Hopefully somewhere in the realm of 6 to 10 wins, something like that. That'd be nice.
I'm going to say it's going to be on the lower end, and here's why. And it's not because of Justin Fields. They did nothing, and I mean nothing, to address the defensive line in the pass rush. Absolutely nothing.
Okay. I see where you're coming from. 2 things to defend that. They did draft 2 defensive linemen in the 2nd and 3rd round. Or are they both in the 3rd round? I can't remember.
I think it was definitely day 2. I think they definitely drafted a couple, but you can't really expect 2 rookies to come in and just completely turn around your pass rush. Unless it's like, I don't know, let's just play this hypothetical. If the Texans, for example, got Will Anderson and Nolan Smith instead of what they ended up actually getting, I feel like that's a stretch to a degree. And it's not like the Bears were a great pass rush this last year. I think they were bottom 3 in sacks, if I'm not mistaken.
Our leading sacker was Jaquan Brisker. Just to get
that's not great.
No, not when your rookie safety is your best pass rusher. So,
Big Jaquan Brisker fan as well, by the way.
What's that?
Big Jaquan Brisker fan as well.
Oh yeah, he's really good. But the only other thing is that Matt Eberflus's scheme doesn't really require like having a dominant edge rushers. I would like to see maybe bring in like one more veteran, but I'm decently happy. Like, yes, there's going to have to be more thrown in. Maybe Chase Claypool trade. Maybe bring in Yannick Ngakoue for a year. He's got that familiarity with Eberflus, so who knows what they're going to do. But I wanted to ask you, since you asked about the Bears, talk about the Patriots. What's going on with DeAndre Hopkins? I thought this was a done deal at this point.
So the way I understand this is they're trying to figure out some cap shenanigans, despite the cap just categorically not existing. The salary cap is a myth. It's a plot device. It's not existing. But they made a couple of moves last week, both of which I would say I was a fan of, extending Devontae Parker for, I believe, 2 more years, and actually 3 years for Parker and 2 years for Jawan Bentley. And Bentley specifically was that great money. He's not a household name, but he is a mauler. He's a 2-time captain these last 2 years, and he's just put up the 2 best seasons of his career. So I was a huge fan of that move. But they're trying to move fake salary cap money out of 2023 and into 2024, where they already have like $150 million freed up.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens with Hopkins, I think it's probably going to be in the next couple of weeks. It doesn't sound like he's going to be rushing into this. But the way I understand it is the Patriots are the leader in the clubhouse, followed by Tennessee, and then apparently Kansas City's out there lurking in the weeds. And I wouldn't hate that for him.
I mean, it's essentially your Tyreek Hill replacement, except he's 6'3", or whatever.
Not a body catcher. And a good person.
Exactly. So, I mean, what money where's the difference in like money and like how are the Patriots going to be able to clear that up to get him?
So I don't think the problem is the cap. I think the problem is the real cash flow into the deal. And a big talking point here at the end of last season was Bill Belichick, I think after the last game against the Bills, was talking about how we're one of the lowest real cash spending teams in the entire league. And that one quote got about 2.5 months worth of run in the New England area.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that was by accident at this point. So I think if they can get a good real cash number, they're probably going to get them. Because I think they're good right now, the receiver room, like the 5, 6, or 7 guys they have right now. DeAndre Hopkins gives them I would say, a borderline top 10 offense, because I really like the guys they have in totality. Hopkins would just be the guy that puts them over the top. I don't think that it would be the best offense in the league, but with some of the guys they have, Henry, Gesicki, I liked most of what I saw out of Parker. I think Tyquan Thornton should hopefully make the jump in year 2, and then Ramondre Stevenson, I think, who's already a top 10 back right now. I think this could be a really good offense. My only real concern right now is the offensive tackle situation. Trent Brown has been kind of AWOL, kind of not AWOL to this point. And I don't really have any high expectations out of Riley Reif, Bears legend Riley Reif. At right tackle.
What?
Yeah. The very same.
The very same. But yeah, the only thing that concerns me about the Patriots offense, and trust me, this is coming from a Bears fan, so is the quarterback. Like, are we getting rookie season Mac Jones, like second half of the year, where he had 2 touchdowns to 1 interception, touchdown interception ratio, leading the Patriots to the playoffs? Or are we getting second year Mac Jones, where he's injured and then getting replaced by a literal Madden generated player in Bailey Zappi?
No, we in this house we respect Bailey Zappi.
I respect him too, but when he was coming in, he was a Madden generated player.
That's what many forget. Aaron Rodgers had no answer for Bailey Zappi once he got put in for Brian Hoyer. But I think Mac Jones is going to be like the best quarterback in the NFL? Absolutely not. I don't think that's his ceiling. If he can be like a borderline fringe top 10 guy at the absolute best, I think this is a playoff team. I think if everything goes according to plan with Bill O'Brien, a real offensive coordinator with him for the first time, like the 2 previous bozos that were with them, I think this is probably a playoff team. I think Mac Jones, as everything you've heard out of OTAs and minicamp, is that he's putting the work. He's trying to rebuild his reputation inside the building. And he seems to be doing a good job of that so far. We'll have to see once camp opens up, I believe, on the 26th here. But count me in as a believer of Mac Jones, because if it's not this year, it's never going to happen.
My only concern is who are the Patriots going to potentially beat out, because you got potentially 3 playoff teams already in your own division. And then you have either the Bengals or the Ravens or the Browns. And then you have the Chargers and the Chiefs in the West, and potentially the Raiders, depending on how Jimmy Garoppolo does.
A team led by Josh McDaniels? Not a chance. No. No.
Or the Denver Broncos with a potentially improved Wilson. So
there we go.
There's a lot of teams. So really the 3 worst teams in the AFC right now are basically all in one division.
Correct.
Which is a weird thing to say. And I mean, then you throw the Steelers in as that next team, but AFC is going to be a bloodbath next year. So I don't know who you think they're getting over. Like, who do you think who's going to make it and who's going to make it over? The Patriots are going to make it over.
I don't know if this is going to shock you, but my answer is the New York Jets, and only the New York Jets.
I'm not surprised.
After what happened in Denver last year with Russell Wilson, I refuse to believe in what they're going to do with Aaron Rodgers until I physically see it for myself. And we're going to get a chance to see that because they're on Hard Knocks this year, by the sounds of it, if I'm not mistaken.
So it is the Jets on Hard Knocks.
It sounds like it's going to be them. I could be wrong. But very excited to see how he destroys that locker room inside of 2 months. And I'm very excited to see him throw an errant overthrow to Garrett Wilson, and he just never throws to him again like he did with Christian Watson last year. That was awesome, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Awesome. Oh, my God. But I think my biggest concern with the Jets is my biggest concern with the Patriots. Can their offensive line stay healthy? And I don't know if they can.
So, yeah, that's a crazy thing then, because if I'm just trying to think of who else would potentially get in. So you got the Patriots in. I think you pretty much.
I think you're getting 3 teams in the East. I think it's going to be the Bills, Dolphins, and Patriots in that order. I think the Dolphins are going to be really good.
So you would leave out potentially Baltimore or Cincinnati, and then potentially leave out the Chargers.
My thing with the Ravens is they're really good. They can't stay healthy. They cannot stay healthy. They were my Super Bowl pick last year. And I was all in. They crushed the draft a year ago, I thought. I'm thinking, yeah, they have a good roster as is. They just filled out the holes they really needed to. I think they're probably going to win. Then I also forgot their training staff might be the worst in pro sports.
I don't know. The 2010s Chicago Bulls training staff might have something to say about that.
Yeah, so it's the NFLPA survey that came out a couple months ago.
True. Also, wasn't like the Commanders also really low on that list for that as well?
That would not shock me.
I think they were like last in everything from what I remember.
That would not shock me in the slightest.
God, I really hope they turn it around at some point. But
well, I mean, the bad man's out there, so I mean, anything's possible.
Who knows? All right, we're getting ready here to wrap up soon, so we'll go ahead and switch it over to our favorite segment of the evening. We'll go a couple minutes here for a quick fireside chat. Just anything on your guys' minds, and you just want to share now.
Looking at you, Scott. Looking at you, Bruce. I know you're in here.
Oh man, like that's just the summer been going. Like I feel like it's flown by. It felt like 2 days ago I was a couple days out of college, and now it's already almost July 10th.
Crazy. Very humid. Northeast humidity is no joke. I can't speak for the Southeast really or the West. New England humidity is a different animal. Now today, a good day. But once we really get closer to August, like it's not going to be fun. But thank God I essentially AC, for better or worse.
I can preach to that. The Midwest humidity can be very brutal at times. There are we were a couple of days ago. We were outside working in the garden, planting some plants and all that kind of stuff. And I swear to God, I felt like I was boiling. It was almost 90 degrees, humid. I literally felt like my insides were boiling, and like I was like a glass of water that was boiling.
Like the air feels heavy, the whole nine.
It's rough, but yeah, today was a good day. Tomorrow should be better. I'll be back in the 70s. We'll be big chilling out here in Illinois. But
what do we got right now? It's
I don't think we got
about. I think we're looking at 86 right now, but it's 9 o'clock at night. No, excuse me. Yeah, 80. 80, it's 9 o'clock at night.
Yikes.
90 tomorrow. Oh, perfect.
Oh, well.
90 probably going to be a real feel of like 97. Oh, the best.
All right. Well, hopefully things you'll be able to stay cool tomorrow, go to the beach or stay inside, take advantage of that central AC out there. Jack, this has been a ton of fun hosting Third on Thursdays with you tonight. Where can the people find you to read some of your work about BMX and the New England Patriots?
Well, you can find me on the Bird app, which may or may not be on life support right now because of one Mark Zuckerberg. But find me on the Bird app at Jack Gaffney TDT. He just had the big news in the motocross world. Red Bull KTM out here parting ways with Cooper Webb, 2-time Supercross champion. Let's say 4 months before his contract was set to expire. Expectation is he's going to be heading to Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha as soon as September now. Mm-hmm. And you also find me on the new Threads app, which is effectively just one giant for you at this point, and just Jack Gaffney TDT. Same thing on the Bird app.
Sounds good. We'll make sure to get people to come out and look at some of your content. I'll also be putting out some pieces soon. I'll be cooking up my volume 2 of ranking every starting NFL quarterback. I did one last year, and it's time to bring it back. So that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. And y'all can find me at J Gross Bucks. But thank you everyone for watching, and go ahead and get on out of here.
Where's my favorite guy? MJ's favorite guy.
Where's the boy? What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Jack and Jackson. Hell of a job, boys. Hell of a job. Mike, MJ, and I'll be back next week. Let's go.